All right, we're live. I'm Memorex.
Yeah.
So I think you want to start off with a recap and talking about the trades that have happened.
Oh yeah. Some good, some bad. I think the biggest names were traded earlier, before the trade deadline, anyways. Like McCaffrey. There was a
So
couple big trades.
yeah, so last week Wardy actually won. I went 10-5, while Ripper went 8-7. For some reason, we both picked the Jags, which I appreciate us going ahead and sinking that boat. You, for some reason, thought the Panthers would score, so shame on you. You went with the Lilliputians again. The Jets, we went ahead and killed that winning streak, so now all is right with the world again. You picked the Texans and the Colts, the AFC champion, soon to be Colts, anyhow, that is. Whereas I bombed on both the Niners, or the Giants and the Packers. So your NFC East sucks. Um, and then lastly, you thought the Bengals would stay upright. So that's where we are. And then, guess again, a lot of trades. My personal favorite is we decided to trade players for a person who bet on NFL football. So Calvin Ridley going to the Jags
Well, when's he back? Next year?
next year. Yeah.
I mean, he's still going to be a legit receiver, right? He's still a number one guy. What else can you say? Jeez.
Do you
Come back to
think? Do
next
you
year.
think he'll? I mean, do you think betting on the game is just a year? So he's eligible to. So the thing I've seen this with Blackman, right? We did this one of those that he got suspended. He was eligible to be reinstated, but then that time comes and passes. Is this betting on the game is kind of one of those bad things? So is this one of those things you think because I guess the evidence is he's bet on his own team that they're going to give him a slap on the wrist in 1 year and be done with it, or is this something that drags on?
So you're asking if this is a Pete Rose?
Yeah.
Man, it depends on the commissioner, right? I mean, he's not a very well loved guy by many of the players because he could be a dick. If he really, I mean, I know it's not just up to him, but yeah, man, I think it could. I think they would set the example, right? Hey, don't bet on NFL games. Period. Isn't that what the rule is?
Yeah, I mean, and plus with all the sports betting, I mean, everybody says that this is a natural offshoot, right? That it's so easy now to bet on football games that someone was going to do it. Now, I think nothing I've heard is he was betting against the betting against this team because that's a whole new story. But in either case, is this one of those they make an example of this guy and he doesn't, stranger things have happened. Ray Rice never got to play again. Other people have been in that situation. So
Well, think about it. I mean, betting against other teams or even betting on his own team, whatever it is, he's probably done it before, and so have plenty of other players, right? Betting on your own team, depending on what you're affecting. If it's, that you bet for your team and they, need another couple points to cover the spread or whatever, even though you're winning, are you pushing for the ball? Are you pushing? You know what I mean?
yeah.
Who knows how you can affect it? So yeah, there goes the Amber Alert.
All right. Someone out there is
It's a
being
sil-
abducted.
it's a silver alert for Rip.
That was Calvin really
That was-
saying, "Yo, man, chill, dog, chill." So who knows, right? I mean, it is gambling, bro. No matter how you look at it, he could affect the outcome of a game, whether it be positive, negative, whatever, whether he's betting on his team or not. Who knows what he's done? And yeah, I do think the NFL is gonna. I think they'll let him back eventually, man. I don't think they're. I mean, look at Calvin. What's his name? Hunt is back, and he beat on his girl too.
Yeah.
If Ridley had bet against or against the Falcons, like had bet against his team, we would have heard it by now. They would have made an example of him. They would have hung him out to dry.
Well, if they let Tank Tickler back, Deshaun Watson, why wouldn't they let Ridley back, right?
Yeah, I guess the bar isn't very high, right? So,
I mean, to me, it's a low risk, high reward deal for Jacksonville. You're talking about a fifth and a fourth, and maybe a fourth, a third if Ridley plays, and a second if they sign him to an extension. And I would take that any day if Ridley actually plays.
Well, I think that's exactly what and then getting rid of him also was like, all right, the risk is all on Jacksonville, right? Whether he comes back or not, and we're getting rewarded for it. If he doesn't get to come back, we walked away looking great. And if not, well then Jacksonville walked away with a number 1 receiver. And I think they'll let him back. I think it's a good trade for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Maybe they'll win a game next year.
Maybe.
Without
we just got him early this year. That we knocked those 2 out early. Into the Jets run. Is your uncle unconsolable, or is he just like, nah?
He pissed it all away.
Yep. Well, all right.
Let's just go the short end of that. There's not much more to explain to that other than he pissed it all away.
There was money in the stock. The stock tanked.
He says he's starting a new streak with $1,000.
And I would like to.
The stock became.
I'd like to take credit for busting that stock, because they were going really well with me betting against them, and I had to end that streak.
Hey, the Jets are still, what, 5-2?
Yes.
Not bad.
It is not, but they are 0-1 with Wardy picking them.
I'll tell Uncle Rico you keep fucking picking them.
It's all right. So obviously C-Mac trade, big trade. Chubb to the Dolphins, Chubb, big trade, right? I actually don't believe. I guess I do. I guess the thought from Denver was rental, right? He's a 1 year. We weren't going to sign him anyhow, so might as well get something for him. Bill's got a upgraded running back with the Colts back.
You really think that?
Slight.
I'd take Hines over Moss.
Yeah, slight. We're talking a notch, right? You went from the 3 o'clock in the morning bar 5 to a 5.5 hard 6, right?
Soft 6. Where Buffalo is, you're looking for that incremental upgrade, right? Like you don't need.
Nah, I'm sure they would have loved to have gotten C-Mac. They just didn't want to give up the farm for him, and
Hines is no C-Mac.
Yeah, correct. So when Striker's saying they want increment. No, you would love to have a superstar running back. It's just how many pieces can you fit in the cap and everything else.
Well, what Hines adds to Buffalo is that receiving running back, right? And I think that it plays pretty into what Buffalo runs on an offensive scheme. I think that helps them. Hines is definitely a receiving running back, is he not?
He's not. I mean, he's not terrible. I don't know that I put him in the
they use them in
Eckler's company or anything like that. But
where's my stat guy? Striker, you're slacking.
Yeah, Calvin Ridley. If you need a job in the stats department, we've got an opening coming up real soon.
Nah, look,
they pay really well.
Really well. Beautiful.
Not bad. I mean, he used, I guess, heavier this year. They didn't use him much, but in the last 3 years, he has 77 receptions, 57 receptions, and then this year 28. It dwindled a little, but he was adding yards. In his career with Indianapolis, he has 301 receptions or targets, 236 receptions, 1,700 yards, 7 touchdowns. I guess not a big time receiver. What happens when you don't have a stat guy?
True that. The budget was low this year, though.
Calvin Ridley, we will let you bet on your teams here. Not part of the you get fired.
Exactly. You can full reign. Actually, anything else on the weekly wrap up?
We didn't even talk about
trade from the
Claypool,
the Steelers.
Sorry.
Hawkinson.
I mean, yeah, there's still a couple other trades out there that are pretty interesting in the grand scheme.
Well, so Claypool. I mean, I have Claypool as like a.
Well, Claypool's not bad.
Well, so does Pittsburgh.
He just went to the shit team, right? He went from Pittsburgh to Chicago.
Yeah.
How much difference is there in quarterback, right? I mean, you went from a rookie quarterback to a running back that plays quarterback. So
correct. You might have actually gotten a downgrade. Like Claypool's fantasy value may have actually cratered.
Exactly. I don't believe that was a good trade for Claypool, anyways, right? It doesn't put him anywhere where he's going to be much better, whether it's just him stats or even fantasy stats. That doesn't change.
Well, and what were the Bears thinking? Like, we're a Claypool away from like.
Come on now. Look who their quarterback is. When I don't think they've been thinking for a while.
So I know he's only throwing 90 yards a game, but maybe Claypool's the answer.
Yeah.
Which amazes again, and you're not there, but it's pretty obvious to me that Fields is not the answer with his arm, right? I think he's a great athlete. Like you said, feels the running back is outstanding. Feels the quarterback is on the bottom 10, right? So I don't see how teams can convince themselves that he's the guy. I just don't know.
That
I
Hawkinson
think
trade,
Pittsburgh won that deal hard simply because they just said we have a receiver we don't need anymore, which says they love Pickens.
So when's the last time that you saw a divisional rival trade I'd give him a star. I give him a star rating, maybe a 2-star rating. I don't know what the star rating I'm going to give him, but a star player to a divisional rival. Like, that doesn't happen very often.
I assume you're talking Hawkinson?
Yeah,
or
correct.
Pittsburgh.
Hawkinson, in my book, is a great tight end. With a better team, that guy has stats galore. He did it with Detroit too. I think going to Minnesota, not bad. I mean, who was the last good receiver tight end in Minnesota?
But basically, the Lions got a bag of chips for him. Like, I've never seen. Again, I think even with the season he's having with the Lions, I think he's still a star player. And then trading him interdivisionally for basically nothing, just a head scratcher. Like, generally, you don't send anyone to your division.
But the Vikings got good. I mean, the Lions got good. They got what, a second round, third round, fourth round.
I don't. You don't see many trades, and if you do interdivision, it's like a assassination kind of thing. Like, 3 firsts and
So are you saying he's worth more, or are you saying?
I'm just saying it's odd. Again, it's just one of those things I don't see a lot. That teams trade in their division, and if they do, there's usually like a interdivisional. Like, we hate these teams so much, you're going to get an extra draft pick, just for even talking to you about trading. So it's odd to me that they would trade it. And again, I don't think it was a lot for him. So.
Well, and it gets even a better deal for Minnesota when you find out that their top tight end is out for probably the rest of the season with a high ankle sprain.
Yeah, but Irv Smith wasn't all that.
Yeah, he's definitely. Well, I mean, this is definitely an upgrade.
But I mean, that was their top tight end.
I'm trying to remember who the good tight end in Minnesota was a couple years ago.
Was you talking about Smith?
Nah, before Irv Smith, there was somebody. There's somebody used to have a great.
He's with Tampa now. Yes.
I'm forgetting, but anyways, that guy.
Yes.
I think Hawkinson helps Minnesota big time, and you're right. Detroit can get shit for him, but that's what they did. It's Detroit, though. Come on now.
You're thinking Kyle Rudolph?
Yes.
Yes, Kyle Rudolph. There you go. Sorry, Calvin Ridley. Stryker took your job again.
He's back.
He's back.
I had to go back to 2019 to find him. That was the last time he was on the Vikings roster.
Well, yeah, but he's playing for the Bucs right now. Well, I think he's buried on the depth chart, but
Chase Edmonds to Denver. That wasn't really.
Chase Edmonds to Denver was simply because Denver shipped what's his name off to Miami as part of that.
Wilson went to Miami.
He was like, "We'll give you a 7 and a Chubb." Okay, I get you.
Hey, thanks for the follow, Captain. Thanks for the follow, Johnny.
That was a fun trade recap.
That was a fun trade recap. So the first game that we have is the undefeated Philadelphia Eagles versus the Texans.
Look, it's an NFC East team, so I hate NFC East, especially Philadelphia and the Giants. But I'm not stupid either. I want to pick Houston, Texas, just because I hate Philadelphia, but I'm not dumb, and I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to say Philly easily on this one. There isn't really much that's bright in Houston's side except for their running back. Other than that, Houston's got problems, right? I'm still not a big believer in Hurts, right? I think that Philly's defense is where it's really at. I don't think Houston has anything that challenges that, per se. I do believe Philly will run into a team that's going to knock them in the mouth, and that's coming, I'm sure, down the road in their schedule. But right now, they played a lot of teams that aren't worth much, and including the Cowboys are on and off. So the Cowboys aren't the team yet, but I think they just haven't ran into a team that's going to smack them in the mouth, and it's not going to be this team either. So Philly all over the place.
So David Mills throws for 500 yards.
Yeah.
the Houston running back, which I don't even know his name, but you love him, goes for 250, and Brandon Cooks gets 5 touchdowns and says, "I didn't want to be traded anyhow." And then the Texans wake up and they realize that they're playing the number 1 defense and they don't score over 3 points. So yeah, this one, these are one of those games. Like, I know this is why any given Sunday, because this is the kind of game that Houston can win. Like, they can actually win this ball game. However, when you look at it on paper, you're like, there's no way, right? Like, no sane person is gonna go like, Philly, I'm taking Houston and the over, right? So yeah,
they're giving Philly 13.5 points in Houston. Vegas says there's no way.
Marty, I dare your ass to pick Houston. Do it.
I hate. First of all, I hate Houston. So the only reason I picked them is for them to be cursed like the Jets. So although,
do you think they have a slight chance though?
No. I mean,
okay.
So
I mean,
to be clear, I think any team, again, it's any given Sunday, right? Any team can beat any other team in the league, and we've seen that even this year. Like, we've picked ones that we've both been like, yeah, there's no way, and then they end up the Falcons the other week. It happens, but
not this one.
Correct. I just don't. I think 13 is probably one of those you could be like, that's not a lot of points. So yeah. Striker, anything to add of value?
Well, this ain't college ball. They're not going to say plus 30 or minus 30.
Correct.
No, if I was betting this, I'm betting the over, and I'm betting Philly scores more than 14 points. 14 points more than Texans.
The over though?
45.5. That ain't that big of an over.
Well, but the thing is I think, and again, those guys get paid a lot of money to set those lines, and they do a really good job at setting them in the right spot. And it's one of those things that, quite frankly, I think if you're the Eagles, you know that, right? You're not. I'm not. There's a point where you're not. This team isn't going to come back and bite you. So I don't know that I say you go easy on them, but I can tell you they're not trying like they are against the Cowboys. Well, let's
take a side note just for shits and giggles, Strikey. I'm gonna say Philly and the under. You say Philly and the over?
I say Philly and the over.
All right.
Oh, I would say. I mean,
how do you hit the over if Houston ain't scoring? Philly ain't gonna score for what is it? 35 or 45?
45.5.
Nah. It's a good bet. I might make that bet on my own for reals.
So what's the
put
what's
it
the
on a part of
numbers?
a parlay?
Philly's got 13 points, right?
Yes.
13.5.
Yeah. Over is 45. Over 45.
No, they're not. I don't think. Yeah.
The combined isn't over 45.
No, I think the Texans are going to score 3. So, and I don't think Philly put 28 up. I don't think they'll put up 42.
So you need, if Philly scores 28, you need what more now? You need 23 points? No, 13 points, right? I don't know. I'm not a mathematician.
23.
There you go, 23. That's a lot.
Actually, you need more than 23.
That's a lot.
So you're saying Philly's going to light up the scoreboard? Ding, ding,
I'm saying
ding,
it's going to be a 35-17 or something like that. Close enough that we're over the 45.
I guess we'll find out. That's a good one. This is a little, friendly wager. Striker loses, he changes his head. Whatever.
I'll admit that the Dallas Cowboys are good next time.
What they are. I mean, unfortunately, we've found that out.
Well, not Philly good yet because they lost to Philly.
Correct. All right. So we got the Chargers in Hotlanta.
Hotlanta. Mm-hmm. Let's look at this one. I will say that this is a fantasy stat here. That little running back from Atlanta, Algiers, however you say his name. He's starting to heat up, man. He's starting to heat up. I called it earlier. He's no Patterson yet, but he is starting to get better. And I think that as the season progresses, that running back is going to be on fire. Now, back to the game. This game, I'm going to look at another the classic fantasy relevance that we like using. Look at Justin Herbert, right? They've got Eckler. You've got Williams, who's hurt and out, correct? As is Keenan Allen supposed to be back. Is that true?
His hamstring is problematic.
Yeah, so, man.
Eckler is out. Allen is questionable and did not practice today. So
correct, but it's Herbert, man, and he made what's the next receiver under that? Josh something? Rogers? Is it Rogers?
Josh Palmer.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Josh Palmer, DeAndre
good old
Kelly,
Josh Palmer,
Jalen Guyton. Yeah, these are
next
names.
man up.
It's
correct,
Jerry Rice and Josh Palmer in the same sentence.
It's the quarterback that's going to make those guys the next one. Now the Falcons aren't schmoes either right now, man. Right? They're 4-4. They're kind of moving the ball around. They're playing good football. I mean, surprise, surprise, Mariota's back as a relevant quarterback in the NFL.
They're a pile of warm, hot schmoes.
Right. So the running game's good. Honestly, this is going to come down to who makes more stops on defense. Because I think the running game, if you look at it, Atlanta takes the running game. The Chargers take the passing game. So it's really going to come down to whose defense plays better. In this case, I think the Chargers have the better defense. And I don't know. I don't like going against Herbert, man. He's a dynamic quarterback. I think Mariota is nowhere near him. So they're going to win the quarterback race. And if you can get Eckler to run some balls, you're all set. I think the Chargers take this one just based on defense, really. And a better quarterback, obviously. Awkward silence.
No, I'm moving things around. So I think you're right. I think the Chargers are better. I see him this way. The Chargers have a quarterback that's head and shoulders above, right? The team's beat up, but they're playing hard. They're trying to get back into the they're trying to get into the playoffs. The Falcons are just playing well as a team. They don't score a lot, but they don't give up a lot of points. So I actually think the Falcons' defense as a whole, even though it statistically doesn't look like it's one of those. Seems like it's one of those 20-20 kind of defenses that they let you get anywhere, between the 20s, but then in the 20 they start stiffening up and keep you from scoring. So I think the Falcons' defense is a little better than the Chargers. I think the Falcons have just played, again, above the sum of their parts, and I think the Chargers have kind of played a little below the sum of their parts. But in this one, I think Herbert's, again, head and shoulders above Mariota in the quarterbacking department, and I think they should win this one. This is these are the kind of games the Chargers have to start consistently beating, because I think they're the better team, or they should be the better team. Now the injuries are biting them, not having some of those explosive players, and so this game may fall right into the Falcons' hands. Of it's a late, a low scoring game, 14-13 kind of game, and who knows. When it's that kind of game, if you can just get the ball with a few minutes and get a drive and get a field goal, it's all she wrote, right? But I still think the Chargers should win.
Well, they should. I don't know about the Falcons' defense being better than what it says on paper. I mean, they tried to lose that game last week against Carolina. They let Carolina score 21 points in the fourth quarter. Great.
Yeah,
and tie it up and go into overtime.
I mean, obviously. They're a Jekyll and Hyde team, right? They're 4-4. But if you look at them on paper, do you think the Falcons, when you look at them on paper, should be 4-4? And the answer to me is no. They should be like a 2-4 or 2-6 team.
Okay.
But that's my take.
So the one thing I will add to this is that Los Angeles is coming out of their bye week. So if they don't have a good game plan and they bog down against Atlanta, I mean, I think the coaching staff has to start getting a little nervous about the potential of being let go in the offseason.
What do you mean? Who let go?
The coach.
Oh, right.
The coach.
I think they're just coming off the bye week. I think they've worked out a couple of other receivers to step up because Mike Williams is out. So it's probably Keenan Allen. I think they're ready, man. You've got a dynamic quarterback that isn't going to let you down. He's going to throw to whoever. He gets his chemistry down, and let's go play football, right? I don't think the Chargers do this one. I think the Falcons let some guy named PJ something or other, peanut butter and jelly, Walker come over here and throw 317 yards on you.
Will the fan in row 14, seat 5, please
Exactly.
get your uniform on. You're the new quarterback for the Carolina Panthers.
PJ Walker's Peanut Butter Jelly Time. That's the song they played when he came out of the stands.
Peanut butter jelly time. Peanut butter jelly time.
And you know what? He walked away with it. They should have won that game. Carolina should have won that game.
Exactly. Proves to my point that the Panthers defense is trash.
Falcons.
You know what I meant. Falcons, Panthers, they both played each other. You know who I was
They are
about?
animals. That is correct. So the Miami Fighting Head Traumas are going against the Bears.
Is he back? Is he back?
Yeah, Tua's back.
Does he know he's back?
Debatable. Tell your friends I'm Batman.
I mean, again, we have to talk about the whole hit in the head, right? Whether that'll play into effect this game or not. I guess we got to see how Tua does, man.
So what did he do? He was in last week, right? What did he do last week?
Yeah, 29 for 36, 382, and 3 touchdowns.
Okay, so he's back.
So apparently he's better with the head concussion, right?
And he took 2 sacks and had 10.5 yards per pass on average.
So what you're saying is he's not afraid of the boogeyman anymore.
I'm saying exactly what I called last week, which is it was a great game for him to have play against Detroit, who couldn't touch the quarterback to save their life. That was the best game to come back.
Where did I pick last week? Detroit? I probably would have gone against Tua.
Yeah, I think you did. I'm 99% sure. I'm looking.
I figured Tua would be twitching in the middle of the field after the first quarter, but I guess not. I guess he heard the radio show.
Nope, you picked the Dolphins. You got them.
All right, there you go.
That was one of the few. That was one of the few wins that Ripper had.
I'm looking at the stats. Jesus Christ, 29 for 36. Wow,
it's against the Lions, who Brissett put up like 700 yards, right?
Oh, that's true. He's going against the JV. Baby,
they're not even the JV. They're the freshman team.
But Stryker's right. What a game to come back on, right? So if you're a fighter and you come back to your next fight, like you get knocked out, your next fight's usually a fluff fight to get back in, and then you go smack somebody, right? Like, it's a good one for him. But now he's playing. Well, he's playing.
No, he's playing another. Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, it's a good little warm up to get him where he needs to be. I mean.
And then the Bears trade away. I can't enunciate his name. Roquan Smith.
Raekwon Smith.
Okay. So
wait, did they trade Wilson?
The Dolphins got Wilson.
Yeah. Oh shit.
Yeah. So he's in that.
And that's what happens when you don't pay attention. I did a boo boo today.
Did you get rid of Jeff Wilson?
I think I did drop Jeff Wilson. I wouldn't have. Well,
he's gonna split time. I mean, it's not like he's
with Mustard.
Yeah.
Wow, they put him back with Mustard.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So.
Wow. It's Wilson. So anyways, this game, right? I'm definitely taking the Dolphins. The Bears with their running back as a quarterback. I mean, not happening. He had a little traction against the Cowboys, and then the Cowboys said, "Yeah, for real." I'm definitely taking the Dolphins on this one.
They were all like, "Girlfriend, you're not gonna run no more." And then he was like, "Oh my God, I can't throw." So
the Cowboys decided to put it to him, and we all saw what happened next. So yeah, there's not much more to say. It's the Bears, bro. The Dolphins win this one handedly. Stop, Dolphins.
The fish. Which, yeah, the last week you saw like. They've got a lot of moving parts and a lot of weapons. Waddle is a stud. Hill's a stud. The running backs, when they can run against the Lions, are pretty good. I mean, it was a very good showing for the Dolphins. I'm amazed. Again, the Bears have won 3 games, which with this is a pre-1950 offense, right? Like they're not throwing the ball downfield. I just don't. I don't see the Dolphins to me aren't juggernauts. I still don't believe in Tua, but I think that they're so much more talented than the Bears. They should win this one. And I think we say that a lot, and then they end up blowing it. So I don't know. I don't see the Bears any better than the Lions. So I see the Dolphins winning as well. So this is gonna be really boring if we pick the same teams.
Well, you do like to follow me, so.
Oh.
Moving on.
And so I'm gonna pick first the next one because it's the Panthers versus the Bengals. Bengals. So
well, you already know.
We have the Panthers versus the Bengals.
Look, you got Burrow playing peanut butter jelly time. I'm sorry, Burrow. Burrow. I mean, Burrows. I know how you say it, but it does. You could pronounce it like Burrow, and that would make sense, and it would be funny, but whatever. PJ Walker versus Burrow, not going to happen. The thing with the Panthers is that Foreman kid's running like a beast. They don't have McCaffrey anymore. We know that, but yeah, Foreman is no McCaffrey. Receiving core in Panthers is mediocre at best, in my opinion, right now. I mean, the only name receiver you have there is Moore. Fantasy relevance, you really don't have much in Carolina. Foreman, I guess you could put a star on Foreman. I'd give him a 1, maybe, right? 1 point for that. Other than that, what else do you have? You get half a point for DJ Moore, so that's a 1.5.
Yeah.
You go to the Bengals and you've got it all, right? You give one to Mixon, you give one to Burrow, you give one to Chase. But at this point, you might as well give one to Higgins or Boyd. So, fantasy relevance, the Bengals look way stronger. On paper, they look way stronger on me, too. I mean, just stat-wise and everything else, there's no reason why the Bengals lose this game. Burrows did play a little bit softer last week, right? He had a few issues. Let's see, did he turn it on in the second half? Man, I love our stat.
Wow, I just found out Donta Foreman's only 26 years old. He feels like he's been in the league forever.
Okay, well,
Striker's looking at people's ages for some reason. I don't.
No, I was looking at stats on him.
Stop trying to get into his DMs on Instagram, bro. Come on. Anyways,
I've already gotten in on Calvin Ridley's.
25 for 35, 232, 2 touchdowns and interceptions. I believe he did that later on in the game because they had no points all the way up to the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
He struggled against Cleveland, but that's Cleveland, and Cleveland has a way better defense than the Panthers are going to have. I think he starts off hot and keeps going. I think he makes up and bounces back for a shitty game. I would say definitely Cincinnati takes this one.
Yeah, the game last week was weakness against strength. The Bengals are not going to be able to stop a pass rush, not with that line. And then when Burrows is on the ground, he doesn't that often. And this is one of the things I often wonder about coordinators is, there's getting the ball to people's hand. Like if you've got a bad line, you got to get rid of the ball. Like that's just the thing you have to do. You got to get rid of the ball and you got to get rid of it quick. And the Bengals seem to hold on to the ball and really get him abused in the pocket, especially with the line that they have. So I don't know why they don't adjust to that. I'm sure it's not that easy, but he's he got beat up last week. That's all there was to it. And those beat ups led to turnovers and all the bad things that happen when your quarterback's getting the crud beat out of him. And the Browns were just, they didn't really need to throw the ball. They just kind of played defense and ran the ball. The Panthers, they're abysmal offensively. It is what it is. They're not much better defensively. The Bengals will look, this is the kind of thing is, if you give a good quarterback enough time, he will tear you apart. You give a great quarterback enough time, he'll carve you like a turkey. So I think that's what's going to happen this week. So I already said I was going with Cleveland. I'm going with Cleveland.
I think Cleveland, Cincinnati.
I'm sorry, Cincinnati.
I think the biggest problem with Cincinnati right now, also that affects the whole offensive scheme, is they don't have a real running game, man. Mixon is not who he used to be. The running game kind of suffers a little bit. And obviously, if you can't get a running game going, your passing game hurts a little bit. So,
yes, Mixon is not the player that he was, 2-3 years ago. But he's still a good back. And is it because there's something about having a defensive lineman there with you at the snap that doesn't help your yards per carry, right? I mean, Emmett was a really good running back, but also Emmett didn't get touched on his side of the ball, right? Like that line you guys had was stellar, which also helped out. When Emmett went to Arizona, which again was the end of his career, he didn't look the same. So I think it's, football is a team sport. People forget about that, and those big guys up front that nobody knows their names to, they have a big job of keeping the other big guys from getting to the skill positions. So
true. I think the other thing also that affects mix and stats is, well, in this last game anyways, the Bengals were playing from behind and they're passing, not running, right?
correct, yeah.
They're playing against that clock.
Yep.
Cool. I think we all took the Bengals.
Yeah, even Baker Mayfield was like, pick the Bengals. Hey, Julio. Or, hey, Calvin. Put in a bet.
Yeah, hey, Calvin.
All right, we got the Packers, which, hey, I went out on a limb and said they could beat the Bills. They didn't, but at least they made it a game, right? The Packers and the Lions.
Again, if Tua gets a layup in a game against the Lions, then this is the game Rodgers comes back and tears it up and reminds people he's a great quarterback, right? But then we'll say, well, it's against the Lions, and it'll be true. Rodgers getting old, bro. That's what I'm thinking anyways. But he definitely does light up the scoreboard on this one against the Lions. Obviously, the Lions can't stop anybody. Uncle Rico and his geriatric crew that play touch football in the backyard could beat this team. Maybe not, but you get what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
The Packers light it up here. There's no ands if or buts. The Lions, though, are going to score points, though, bro. I think that they're not – the Packers' defense ain't going to stop these guys. I'll tell you that much. I think that the Lions are still dynamic as far as scoring when St. Brett, the Egyptian receiver, as we call him, is on fire and the running game's going. They're going to score points, too. It's just that now they have to play the game of, well, my defense ain't going to stop anything, so I got to outscore the teams I'm going to beat. And I don't think that happens against the Packers. I think the Packers are going to put up a lot of points. I think their defense is a lot better than obviously the Lions. So they'll make a few stops, and the offense just won't be able to put up enough points to beat the Packers. It just won't happen. They will put up points though, bro.
This is an over game, right?
So, I would say most definitely this is an over game.
This is
the line for over-under is 49.5. No, I'm taking the over on 49.5. I'm taking the over on that one. Neither defense can stop it.
Yeah.
Neither defense can stop the other.
They might both have 49. So, final score, Packers 211, Lions 210.
I hope the Egyptian receiver comes back to life, man. I'm missing him. He started off hot, and then he got hurt, and he's been kind of iffy, but it's a light-up game for him.
Yeah, I don't know what's wrong. So
he's old. Rodgers old.
Yeah, but
old.
He's old and so there was a list of receivers that got traded, like Claypool. I mean, and a lot of receivers that got traded were not for, back-breaking trade, draft picks. And here you are, if you're the Packers, you don't have, what if you were to rate, because I guess the only one, Walker got hurt, right? Their number one pick got hurt. The only one, Lazard's the only other one. What do you? He's like a 4 or 5 to me. Like, he's not a number one wide receiver. Like, they don't have any sort of game-breaking threat in the offense, and you couldn't get one trade, like not one guy. Come on, like I just don't see how you're 3-5. You've got a really great quarterback. You can't swing a 5th rounder for a wideout to give him a chance.
Well, think about it though. At 3-5, what are your odds of really making the playoffs at this point? Or so maybe we're saying,
when you got 2 games
now?
Against the Lions and 2 against the Bears, that's pretty good.
Hey, but why trade now, right? Why trade off draft round picks when you're going to need them in the draft, especially when you're already out of it, right? So in the draft, you can find some pretty decent receivers with those mid-2, mid-3 rounds, right? So I don't know. We'll see. I think that would be the mentality. I wouldn't trade either. What they need is a quarterback, and I think that's the biggest problem.
Well, but they've got a quarterback on the roster that they think is the future. So, and if that's the case, and you think Rodgers is done, You either give him weapons or you trade him away, right? Like if you really got the backup quarterback is the guy, then make it love time, right?
And we might just see that, right? I mean, look at it. If he loses to the Lions and he loses to the Bears, we might just see that.
Oh yeah. So, I think it goes without saying. I think the Packers are going to win this one. I thought they were going to beat the Bills last week, so I think they will beat the punchless Lions or the defensiveless Lions.
Next up
is the Patriots are hosting the AFC champion, Indianapolis Colts. Colts. Oopsie.
Well, my boy, I don't know if I told you all this, but the quarterback for the Patriots, he's from
It's a guy from Tyler, Texas.
Victoria, Texas.
Well, Victoria, Texas. My bad.
Zappy. Just Zappy. Anyways, and the Colts are so, off and on when it comes to defense, I think. Obviously, they sat down there, fly him in a private jet, make a whole documentary about signing him over to the Colts quarterback and Matty Ice, which is crazy, but I think he's done forever. Who's playing for him now? Who's
Sam Echelon?
Oh, my Texas boy. It's Texas versus Texas. Yeah.
Dude, the problem is the Texas quarterback on New England isn't playing.
Oh, Zappy out also?
Zappy's up on the screen right now, though. Is it McDonald's time?
Yeah, but they put McDonald's time. They came out and said they were going with Matt.
All right, well. Mac will drop the ball soon enough, and by halftime, it'll be back to Zappy, and then they'll go back and forth. Either way, you got a Texas boy, that played for Texas, and Ellen Heiler, whatever his name is, across the field. It's gonna be a good game, man. I'm excited to see how he does with the Colts, just because of that whole Texas. I'm a Texas Longhorns fan, so I'm really excited to see how he does, and we'll see how it goes. But man, the one thing about Belichick is he tears rookie quarterbacks. Well, this guy's a second year, isn't he? Ellinger, he's your first year.
Yeah, he's not a rookie.
Either way,
2021 pick, 6th round, 218th overall.
Yeah, is that the quarterback?
Is that the Tom Brady zone?
Maybe, but
that is the Tom Brady.
I think the Colts are not running well. I think the Colts are switching up quarterbacks. I think the Colts have problems, in my opinion. I think Patriots have Belichick, and as much as he no longer has Brady, he's still a great coach that comes up with different schemes to beat you. So I'm excited to see Ellinger go at it, and I wish him luck, but I'm going to take the Patriots on this one. Man, I know I'm going to regret that for not taking Texas boy.
It's so lots of again. I assume the Colts offensive line would play like the highly paid unit that it is. I assume the Colts defense would play. I assume that Jonathan Taylor would play, and I assume that Matty Ice would live up to it. The thing I guess I kind of overlooked is the Colts wide receivers are non-existent. I knew the Patriots didn't look good on paper. They don't have any sort of separation on offense. I saw, and their defense has taken some hits. So they've got a bottom third defense, a very plodding offense, and quite frankly, really, unless they're just putting a bunch of tight ends out there and running the ball down people's throats, if they had Justin Fields, they would look really good right now. But they don't. But Belichick's got him. I mean, God, they're 4-4. He's got him in the hunt, right? Which they shouldn't be. I don't see this Patriots team being very good. And the problem is, I think the Colts may be a slightly better team, but they're playing worse. Like again, Jonathan Taylor's, their fantasy stars aren't even, Ryan's benched. Jonathan Taylor's not doing very well. Their defensive players that they have on defense, their stars are hurt, are not playing well. It looks bad.
There's also the loss of Naeem Hines. And the reason I say that, I'm looking at last week's game. And I mean, he dropped a lot of short passes. Listen, he had Jonathan Taylor and Naeem Hines for 21 receptions combined, and they only went for 96 yards. So Ellinger had 201 with no touchdowns. So he was dumping, right?
Correct.
He still has Jonathan, who he threw 16 receptions. Or I'm sorry, it's rushing. My bad. Receptions, he threw through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 different receivers.
Which we call that check down Charlie, right? Like that's
Right.
those rookie quarterbacks are taking the easy completions, right? And then what happens is defenses start watching that and they start covering those plays and making you go to the deeper reads, right? And if you're a great again, it's windows and accurate passes. But if you're a good quarterback, and you got arm talent, you can get those passes there. But that's on the flip side. They can also go, well, you're not getting, you're dumping the ball off and you're getting 2 yards. We don't care. Like you're better off running the ball, right? I'm going with the Patriots just because I think that Belichick is going to scheme and like you said, fluster a young quarterback out of his mind. That's what it is.
There you go. Well, there you go. Me too. Stop Patriots.
We're single-handedly cursing the entire NFL schedule.
Probably.
All right. This is Uncle Rico's going big on the Jets as they played the Bills in New York.
Well, Uncle Rico said he's
New Jersey.
Okay.
Uncle
fine.
Rico says he's putting $1,000 down on this game. He's starting again with a new $1,000. So I think Uncle Rico's. I mean,
I would.
man,
Can you talk him into skipping a week? I would be like, hey, you might want to skip a week.
well, let's look at. He said the odds were fabulous for him, so I don't know.
I
What are
can absolutely imagine they are.
Striker, Mr. Oddsman?
Over under is 47. Buffalo's a 12.5 point favorite on the road.
Oof, so the payout's going to be nice on that one. I'm not stupid. I mean, I'm a Jets fan, a secondary Jets fan, right? I could technically call them my second team, maybe.
They're your AFC team, right?
Yeah, really, I do. Yeah, I like the Jets. I like the underdogs. They've been showing up this year, but man, it's Buffalo, bro. Come on now. Aside from Buffalo's little mishap earlier in the season, that doesn't. Man, it's hard, bro. You know why it's hard? Because the Jets are one of those teams that you think they're so unassuming, like, yeah, it's the Jets, and then all of a sudden, they're
They've got
kicking
5 wins.
Josh Allen's ass everywhere. Yeah, they just scored 4 touchdowns really quick, and Josh Allen can't do anything about it, and it's like, oh my God, where did these guys come from? The defense ain't bad, but man, this isn't one of those games where you're like, yeah, they have a chance against them. They don't. Buffalo Bills are still my Super Bowl favorite. I think they're still going to tear it up, and I am a Jets fan, and I want to pick them based on just, I don't know, gut, but man, how do you bet gut against Buffalo? And my gut's
It's really
right.
simple. You go,
Right.
I pick the Jets. That's what you do.
Yeah, but then there's guts and nuts.
The Jets.
I may be feeling the guts, but I don't have the nuts to bet them. So I'm saying the Bills take this one. Listen, you can't stop Josh Allen. The Jets are a great defense, but they're
Well,
not.
you can't. So I guess the flip side is this is a divisional game. The Jets are at home. They have been playing very well. They're playing again. They last year they had an abysmal defense. It has become an average to above average defense. Their offense is making timely scores. Like they're doing well. They just got Robinson to replace Hall. Like they're doing everything they can to make the playoffs this year. They're going to be up for this game. Where the flip side is, Bills are way more talented. But they're not necessarily. I mean, it's the Jets. That's what they're going to go in. So, I think the Bills are going to win this one too. But these are divisional games, and you never know how they end up, right?
Who do you think is a better team, New England or the Bills?
The New England, or are you asking New England, New York, or the Bills?
Yeah, no. New England, Patriots. Patriots and Bills. Who's the better team?
The Bills.
All right, well, the Patriots beat on the Jets' ass last week, did they not?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think that if they couldn't stop Mac Jones from throwing, well, it wasn't like a ton of yards, but he went 24 for 35 with 194, a touchdown and a pick. The run game was still there. Now Buffalo doesn't really worry about a run game, but but the receiving core in Buffalo is 10 times better than what they faced in New England, obviously. The running game, you can say it's about even. The defense in the Buffaloes is where you're really going to see it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see the Jets offense, especially now no longer with Hall. I don't see the Jets offense saying, yeah, we're going to put up enough points to beat Josh Allen. Really, to beat Josh Allen, the Jets have to get to Josh Allen hardcore. Right? If he can't throw it, then you don't lose against him, right? But that's not going to happen.
Well, or you need a series of turnovers. I mean, a 5 turnover game, and this becomes a completely different story, right?
You need Josh Allen to turn into the Oprah of interceptions. You get a pick, and you get a pick.
Yeah, or the running backs fumble every third time that they touch the ball, which happened one of the weeks we had. So.
Okay, yeah, but the running backs only touch the ball like 10 times.
Correct. That's because they fumble.
That's because you've got a quarterback that sometimes likes to play running back.
Correct.
Yeah,
only he's as good as Fields at running the ball too. So yeah, it's again, this is one of those games I could flip it on and be like, oh, the Jets are up by 14. That sucks.
The Bills.
But I concur. The odds makers concur. Now, would you take the 13? So I think I would. I think the Jets can cover the 13 points.
I take the 13 points. What's the over/under, Strikey? Come on, text Calvin Ridley and ask him. He'll answer.
Over/under's 47.
Oh shit! Ooh. I don't know if I take the over.
Yeah.
I take the 13, but I would take the under.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a 27-20 game right there.
I don't think the Jets score that much.
Yeah.
The defense for Buffalo is too good. I think the Jets will score one. I think the Buffalo scores about 28. So you're looking at a 35-point game. I'll take the under.
And that's why those guys make a lot of money.
Well, yeah, but I got Calvin on hold. He's hooking it up.
He's already bet 1,000 on the Jets too.
He's already made more betting on NFL games than he did his whole contract.
Yeah, the Vikings are going to D.C. to take on the soon-to-be the Commanders. Snyder selling the team. Thoughts?
I saw that.
Well, looking at selling.
Having Bake America looking to sell the team.
Well, I mean, you want to see what kind of offer you get, right? Look, two things. One, I think they already want him to sell the team, don't they?
Oh God, I think every NFL owner wants him gone.
Correct. Him and, well, I don't know, Jerry. I would say I wish Jerry would sell the Cowboys. Seriously, I think that would change the Cowboys forever. But I think the same thing is going to happen with Washington. I think they need to sell to another owner, an owner that gets him out of the damn way and gets his head out of his ass, and let's hire the right personnel to make that team great again, right? And that's not happening with the Dan Snyder ownership. It's not, because he's one of those owners like Jerry Jones, and I know everything. I know it all. I did this in business. Running an NFL team is nothing. And maybe the business aspect of it when it comes to merchandise and everything else he could do. But the NFL is a business in a different sense, right? Merchandising and tickets and all that is one thing. And then the side of football, right? It's like I tell in youth football, winning fixes everything, right? And that's not happening with Snyder, and it's not going to happen. I think you need the right personnel to win. And if you win as a franchise, it increases everything else. But it's not going to happen with Snyder, because Snyder is the guy who says, "Oh, yeah, let's go start that running back that got shot up 5 times. He'll be all right." And now look at him; he ain't doing anything. That's probably a Dan Snyder decision. A lot of it is who they get, what they do. Any owner that's in the locker room, to me, is already a failed team. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Long way to say that, but that's what I mean.
No, I mean you're. It's like, I guess it's like baseball and Moneyball, and it's like the analytics thing. There are people that grow up in the game and they know the game, and then you get these guys who were successful in business and made a lot of money, and they think that they can flip the switch and know about football because they're smart or because they're good in business. Just because you're a really good worker, when you get promoted to a boss, doesn't make you a really good boss. It's the same thing with these guys. Just because you're really good at business doesn't mean you know jack about football. And you hiring the flashy signing, that's what Snyder used to do, was, flash in a pan. He, get Deion Sanders when he's 90 years old. Well, that doesn't matter. They just don't realize that, again, some of those '90s Cowboys teams. You know why you guys were so good? Those lines were impeccable. You had superstars, but those lines were outstanding lines, right?
Okay, but to the point of that, real quick, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but Jerry Jones is still living off of Jimmy Johnson's success.
Correct.
Right? When he got the Cowboys, Jimmy Johnson made that happen. All of that happened. And now Jerry Jones wants to try to take claim for it. He's still trying to do the same stupid stuff.
Yeah.
I can do this, I can do that. When it was really Jimmy Johnson, and he's just not. It's been a failure. Again, shitty coach.
Yeah.
Shitty owner. Sorry.
So maybe Snyder will be out, and then they'll have a return to the '90s glory days, right? Hail to the Redskins, or hail to the Commanders.
And I will say, Washington has one of the more loyal fan bases, so I think you see a resurgence in the team.
Oh yeah, they're
simply on a fan base
they're
level.
cray. They love that team.
If you have an owner that buys it for the love of football and the love of money and gets out of the way of everything else and understands that, hey, we need to win to be to get the return I want, because you're not buying it just because you're a fan. Obviously, these business guys aren't buying it just for that. It's still a business return. Jerry Jones saw a good deal when he bought the Cowboys.
What do you think about the Jags owner? Because to me, everything I've read about him, he made his money in auto parts. He bought the team and then basically said, I'm going to hire football folks to make the decision. But even the football folks he hires, like, he seems to swing wildly from like hire to hire. Like, first he got a respected football coach and brought him in. And then he went for the Urban Meyer crazy, swing for the fence, which just terrible. Now he went back to Doug Peterson. So, I just don't. What's a good example of an owner? Because at the end of the day, he signs a paycheck, he hires the people, right?
Kraft.
Just because he hired Belichick?
Well, I mean, yeah, right. Yeah. Think about it. The ownership, what is it, Red Auerbach or whatever? Is that still the owner for New Orleans?
It was Bolin, right? Not Bolin.
Red Auerbach owned part of the Saints, maybe not.
Benson.
The Chiefs ownership still good.
Yeah, Hunt.
The ownership in Buffalo right now. Look, I mean, I think that's an owner that hired the right football people to make it happen, right? I guess, but again, we're talking successful teams, right?
Correct.
So it's easy to say the ownership for that, his ownership is great. They're just successful. But again, are they successful because the owner said, hey, I'm going to sit right here. I'm going to sit in my box, enjoy the game, make personnel decisions when you ask me, and let the football people do their thing.
Yeah, I'm going to sign checks. Let me know if the check goes over this amount. Yeah, it's just an interesting dynamic. Anyhow, on to the game. The Commanders and the Vikings.
Well, the Vikings just pick up Hawkinson. The Commanders look like
Hawkinson.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a warm Hawkinson to you.
Well, I think that this game, again, can go either way. It's not like it's Cousins, right? And Cousins is, well, let's see. Did he win last week? Because Cousins is hot and cold, hot and cold. They're 6-1 though. Holy smokes.
Yeah, he's kind of broken the hot and. I mean, yeah. So yeah, he's kind of broken the hot and cold.
This is a Peyton Manning year for Cousins. When he finally broke the coast and won a Super Bowl.
No, I don't.
Well, Cook is still running. Cousins is still throwing. Receivers are still catching, and now you add Hawkinson, a great tight end that's very good in my opinion. If I could pick up Hawk, I would right now. I think he's going to tear it up in Minnesota. On the other side of the ball, the Commanders still got Wentz, who again is still Wentz. Their running game went from to Gibson wasn't doing much. Then they said Robinson. Now he looks like, hey, now we know why he shouldn't be playing because that's.
Well, I mean, he wasn't able to outrun bullets, so apparently that didn't help him.
Well, there you go. That's a requirement now. So the receiving core, McLaurin and Samuel, we said it every week, aren't bad, but you just look at their stats every week, and their touchdown stat hasn't increased. Nothing's changed for the last 3 weeks, really, for those guys. So, yeah, I don't see how the Commanders beat the 6-1 Vikings. I know across the fence that the Vikings offense isn't, lighting up scoreboards in a huge way, but their Cousins is getting the job done. They're winning games, and I think they'll do that against the Commanders, and it shouldn't be a problem. The Vikings.
So we got Eagles fan in the chat. Don't tell me you're a Commanders fan. I'm not a Commanders fan. So don't have to worry about that. So I think these teams are closer. Mad respect to the NFC East, although apparently whenever I pick an NFC East team, they decide to lay a turd like the Giants in Seattle last week. I think they're closer together in talent. Like the Redskin team is your worst team in your division. They're 4-4, right? So, they're talented. The Vikings are talented. But again, it's really down to Cousins, right? If who's the bigger head case, Cousins or Wentz? And then you go to the Vikings have way more. Jefferson's a stud. Dalvin Cook is a stud. Those guys can take over games. It is in DC. Rivera's the problem. So the problem is going to be Rivera is going to be really emotional, and I think the players really like Rivera because of his mom passing. This might be one they yank out just for that. So feel the Vikes. Vikes are probably a better team. I'm going to go with the Commanders just because I think they're going to win one for the Gipper.
You think so? Maybe. I mean, the Vikings, would it be a surprise, really?
No.
If Cousins had a shit game?
No.
Nope. You'd be like, oh, so there's this bad game. Yeah. Well,
and you can win in the NFL. There's you can win with inferior talent and emotion 1 week. You can't do it all season, but you can do it one.
Yeah.
So
Still going with Vikings.
that is probably the better pick. Next up, we got the Raiders at the Jaguars.
Oh boy, 2-5 and 2-6.
Carr will throw an interception, and then Lawrence will throw a worser interception.
So you're saying Dumb and Dumber?
Basically.
All right. Well, then let's play this one by fantasy relevance. And I'll tell you what, the Jaguars have some. You look at the I can't count Lawrence as one in my book. I just can't. So I'm gonna give him a half. Give him a 0.5.
I will give him a -1 after the series of events we've had.
Okay, so it's Etienne. He's French.
No, man. It's Etienne.
Yeah,
If we could call brisket, we can call it Etienne.
Yeah, we're armchair quarterback and the coach. We can do what we want.
So Etienne is a stud. You really, I still think, and I said last, you had a home run with that one. I think that's why they dealt away Robinson. Obviously, did you see him last week? He looked good, bro.
Yeah, he looks good until they stop handing the ball and they start going 1st and goal on the 1. Let's throw the ball right to the defensive player.
Well, that's the Jaguars' biggest problem, though, right? It's Sunshine doesn't have anyone to throw to, and Sunshine isn't really throwing well. But hey, you did hook up with a great running back, and I think you can build off that, bro. Honestly, I think Lawrence isn't as bad as I make him out to be, though, right? I mean, he looks like in his press conferences, he looks like a soccer mom that just got out of the gym. It's just my opinion, but
who's that, Lawrence?
Yes.
He is kind of hot.
He still has a dick.
Soccer mom.
Yeah, he's got the best hair in the league. Let's face that.
Okay, he's a soccer mom packing meat, bro. So I don't know what kind of soccer moms they're into, but
thanks for the 25 biddies there, gaming.
Etienne, though, man, wow. I obviously a great pickup if you picked him up in fantasy, which I did. He's a good one, man. I think you're gonna build off that. I think Lawrence isn't that bad. Maybe, I don't know. I'm just not sold on Lawrence. I think honestly he'll end up in Cleveland in a couple of years, but that's just my opinion.
I'm leaning that way, buddy.
Your receiving course kind of sucks. You have Kirk, but it's tough, man. It's tough because all you have is Etienne, and you're right. You can't just hand him the ball 40 times in a game. But
well, you can, but then the next thing you hear is, "What's wrong with our running back? He's dead."
Exactly. Why is he running like that? I don't know. Because he ran him 300 times in 2 games. He had 150 carries.
Yeah.
Holy smokes! Across the field, though, you have the Raiders. Now, man, the Raiders for a 2-5 team just surprised me, just on fantasy relevance. But you know what? Their problem is the same thing the Jaguars. their quarterback just isn't all that, in my opinion. I don't think Derek is his brother, right?
Yes.
Either way, they're going to end up in the same place, out of the NFL, and doing, where was David on Celebrity Fit Camp or something like that?
Yeah. Well, he was probably getting PTSD from getting sacked in Houston.
Well, there you go. Well, Carr's been on his back a lot too, right?
Correct.
The one thing they have across the field again, I think Jacobs, we said is in a contract year, right?
Yep.
So he's going to run for the hills, right? He's going to run as hard as he can, as best he can, so that he ends up on a team that's going to pay him big money. This is his chance to get that big contract. And again, running backs, man, they usually in their lifespan they get their rookie contract, one big contract, and then we'll see. So we're the running game. I think honestly though, man, I think Antonene looks a lot more dynamic than Jacobs in my opinion. Fantasy relevance though, you've got Adams. I know what's his name? Waller's out, right? He's still hurt. Hollins and Renfro and all them are kind of bit players in my opinion. So really all you have is Jacobs, Adams. On the other side you have Antonene and Kirk. If you look at what it is as far as offensive output, I think they're kind of even. I think again this is one of those games that's going to come down to, and I'm laughing because defensive. I don't think either team really plays very well in defense. I guess the Raiders slightly better than the defense of the Jaguars, but man,
oh God, not even close stats wise.
Yeah,
Raiders are way worse than the Jaguars stats wise on defense.
I said it with a laugh. I said it like right, but neither team was very good. So it's going to come down to whose running back plays better. I'm going to say in this game, Jacobs is in a contract and Antonene is dynamic. And I hate doing this again because I know it's going to fall through. I'm going to pick the Jaguars.
So we can't stop Adams. That will be the problem. There's no cornerback on the team that can stop. The best cornerback is Shaq Griffin, and he is hurt. So he won't be there. Then Adams is going to sometimes be against Trey Herndon, and he's going to burn us 1 or 2 touchdowns, and that's going to be all she wrote. So, this is a dangerous team still. I mean, they're 2-5, but they've got parts, right? They're not like it's not like you're going against Carolina where you're like, oh, they can't score. We're in a funk. We've lost, I think it's 9 straight games that's less than a score. It's terrible watching. I don't know. I honestly don't know what's worse, is being a fan and watching you lose by a single score every single week, or being a fan and just getting blown out by halftime and going, I don't have to watch football anymore. So every game you're in the fourth quarter going, oh, we could win, but the sentiment in my head is we're going to lose. How will we lose?
Who's going to stop at the Nene?
He'll get his points. So the problem comes down to Lawrence is. This is what I've heard. Lawrence's rookie season, complete utter crap, right? Because Urban Meyer was a shit show. Got it. It happened. So this is his rookie season. However, he's got 5 red zone picks. He's not learning. Like, it is not hard to know as a quarterback. I didn't play in college. I knew as a quarterback on first down, if you got a pass play and it wasn't there, you threw it out of the back of the end zone. How does the generational quarterback talent not know that? Someone answer me that. Like, I've seen, the sad thing, he's one of those guys who has all the gifts. He's got the arm talent. He can flick the ball 90 yards with a snap of his wrist. He's athletic. He can move around. And it's going to come down to his brain's not just there. And I think part it's from Clemson. Part of it's that he's never played in close games. And he's never had to do these little things like this. Peyton Manning always played in close games. And he knew how to pick you apart. He knew where he was going with the ball before. And Peyton knew that on 1st and goal, if his wide receiver was covered, he was thrown out of the back of the end zone. I'm going with the Raiders. 1, because I can't handle picking my own team and losing anymore. And 2, I think Adams is going to break us in the fourth quarter.
Wow. You did not go with a homer.
No.
This is where it gets you. This is where it bites you in the ass for sure.
Oh, because I'll win, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Which then I'm
But he's
going,
okay with that.
do you bet against them every week? Wardy's bet against the Jaguars 10 straight weeks, and guess what's happened? They're in the playoffs.
No, that's where it gets you, right? You bet against them this week and they win. You bet against them next week and they lose. Then it's just
well. Next week is against the Chiefs, so I've already got a scenario in my head where I've got false hope that we're going to do well, because we've beaten the Raiders and then the Chiefs just go no. And so,
well, I went with your Jacksonville Ocelots,
and I went for the Raiders.
In slightly breaking news, as in it came out earlier today, but I just said the headline on it. The U.S. Attorney's Office has opened a criminal investigation into the Washington Commanders for engagement in financial impropriety.
And he was cleaning his money?
Coincidence that, what's his name, put the team up for sale about the same?
Well, that team just got a discount, right? I mean, think about it. If that's the case, then that team just got a discount. He needs to sell it fast, in other words, right?
Yeah.
So it just knocked off $100 million on it. Wow. So you're saying that Snyder was cleaning his money through the Redskins?
I'm saying the federal government and the U.S. District Attorney in the Eastern District of Virginia says they was.
What's financial improprieties? Like, did they specify exactly what?
No, you know how it is. They don't have anybody actually willing to quote on it.
What would you consider financial impropriety? Money laundering?
RICO.
What would he?
Money laundering.
They just wired $5,000 to Calvin Ridley for unknown purposes.
There you go. They were betting through Calvin. Damn it. I'm just wondering, though, right? I mean, he's a billionaire. I don't know. You would think that someone that's a billionaire, one, has lawyers up the wing wang. Two, why would they be doing something that's going to put them? The only thing I can think of is, I don't know, man.
Because billionaires think they can get away with the shit. Because a billionaire is just somebody who's willing to take $100 million slap on their hand.
Well, and that's exactly what's probably going to happen here.
There's some saying too around billionaires, or basically something to the effect of, "You're not a billionaire unless you've learned how to screw people over." So.
Yeah, but billionaires also have "fuck you" money, right? Like,
yeah.
I'm gonna do this, and oh well, fuck you. I'll pay the fine, and I'll get away with it.
All right, that's enough of those.
Well,
and Warthog has lost his NC-17 rating, and we are now on to AAA.
We were doing so well.
We were, and then we just simultaneously back to back. All right, Strikers homegrown Seahawks. Which congratulations, you didn't do anything like I said you were going to do last week. Very proud of your team. Against the Lilliputians.
The can't get over
so while you guys are watching the video I put in Discord, the tweet, I'm just gonna say that I am deathly terrified of going to Arizona as a Seahawks fan, because every year they go to Arizona, every time they end up in Arizona, somebody big gets hurt. It's happened the last 5 years.
It's because Kyler Murray is a little Chucky doll.
Kyler Murray ain't gonna get hurt.
Tweet, tweet. No, he's a little Chucky doll. Tweet, tweet, tweet.
No, but I mean, you had Sherman go down, you had Thomas go down, you had Baldwin go down. I mean, you name the names.
And Stryker just jinxed D-Hops.
Yeah.
Now shut your mouth.
No shit, I haven't
That was my win last week in the Money League. It was D-Hops and no one else, because my quarterback was on bye and all that fun stuff. So we've lost Ripper.
You know, here 1 second. Someone's like,
so what they're looking at is DK Metcalf basically running a route, getting a cornerback to peel off, and allowing what's his name, K9 Kenneth Walker, to score on a touchdown. That was a broken play last weekend.
I mean, you beat the Giants. They're a solid team, and it was close in the fourth quarter. I thought that was when it was going to be running back time. Barkley. I thought it'd be Barkley left, Barkley right. Instead, they were like, no, let's not do that.
Well, you got the little peoples against the Genos here. Geno's actually, for someone we all thought was going to seriously not be a very good quarterback, and we're like, oh, all right, well, they got rid of Russell and they got Geno, but yeah, Geno's making everyone go, yeah, and 72% completion rate, 1,900 yards, 13 touchdowns, 3 picks. Like, wow, right? Geno's definitely surprising people, I think. You got Walker. What is he? Walker's a rook, right? Strike.
Walker's a rook out of Michigan State.
He's running the ball well. Lockett and Metcalf are still playing good. I mean, man, at 5-3, Seattle's not looking too bad either, right? They're facing the little peoples in his army. Look, D Hops is back, and D Hops is doing this thing. We knew that was going to happen, right? The best running back right now in yardage is Murray, which is expected. He runs the ball. Eno Benjamin has run the ball for Cardinals. Not too bad. Connor's out forever, I think. He's not coming back, right?
He's
You got
900 years old in running back years.
Well, yeah, 50-50 is out. You got Zach Ertz. I mean, I'm just doing that for fantasy relevance.
Mm-hmm.
Man, do we finally say, hey, Geno Smith should get a point for fantasy? The way he's playing right now, I would say yes.
I think it's Metcalf and Lockett get 2 points, and he's at 0 still. Because I think those guys are that good. Like, I remember in the draft when I was watching Metcalf fall down because that guy he is what, one of the top 10 wide receivers in the game, and he was dropping like a rock.
The funny part is advanced stats this year has Lockett way better than Metcalf.
I agree.
But that's the difference in wide receivers, right? Lockett is a route runner, whereas Metcalf is a physical specimen.
Well, it's not like Geno is last week he threw 23 for 34, 23 to 34, 212, 2 touchdowns, no picks. He's playing a really good management game and throwing touchdowns when he needs to.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not like they're long touchdowns because Lockett was 5 for 63 with a touchdown and Metcalf was 6 for 55 with a touchdown. So,
I mean, Geno's longest pass last week was 33 yards.
Correct. He's not throwing bombs, but he's making good decisions, right?
Well, and that's Frisco pioneered that back in the day. Is you don't have to throw the ball down the field if you're accurate and you're giving your guys the ability to run after catch, right?
Move the chains.
Yeah, just
Geno is exactly what we expected him to be. I just don't think anybody expected him to be this good at it. He's a game manager. That's all he's ever been.
Nah, but back in the day, he wasn't even a game manager. I mean, that's
The big question here is Seattle's defense, right? Because they're not very good.
So let's go back and talk about Geno real quick on that, because I want to bring that up. He had 2 years in the league, broke his jaw in a fight with a teammate the 3rd year, tore his ACL in the 4th year, and then bounced around until he came to Seattle. I mean, he really only got 2 years of a chance, and he had 2 years on the New York Jets back when they were terrible. To say he wasn't a good quarterback, I'm not saying he was a good one, but I'm saying writing him off. There's a lot of time in there where he never even got a shot.
Well, it's like this, though. But you do get a shot because you're in practice. You're on a team. They see you practice every day. And trust me, these coaches get judged on wins and losses. And there's a reason why Belichick threw Brady in over Bledsoe. Like, you see these guys in practice.
Bledsoe tore up his knee.
But he stayed. He got his chest, the chest flattened by the Jets linebacker. But at the end of the day, he made the decision to stay with, Bledsoe was the guy. He went to the Super Bowl, blah, blah, blah. So, again, you see these guys in practice. There's a limitation to Geno, period. And we're talking about it. 30 yards down the field isn't a lot. Now, Alex Smith did that for a long time, right? Your problem is that guy doesn't win a championship. So that's why the Chiefs moved on from Alex Smith. These guys that have, Pennington the same way. Paying to get you 10 wins in the regular season, it comes to playoff, it's a first-round exit, right? Cowboys running the same problem. They've got the same kind of quarterbacks. Those undrafted guys, great. They've got problems. There's a reason why they were undrafted. So I'm saying he's been in the league a long time and been on practice squads and not practice squads, at practice, and coaches have seen him, and they said this other guy who wasn't that much better was better than him.
Look, I don't know about this or that, but let's look at this game. And Geno Smith is managing the ball great, but his defense isn't going to give him a lot of chances to win games. That's probably why they're 5-3. Your defense looks kind of, you know, not too good, but neither is the Arizona defense. I'm trying not to use bad words.
It's a tale of two defenses, pre-New Orleans and post-New Orleans. Because that New Orleans game they had a team meeting, players only after that, and things changed. If you go back and look at the last 3 games they played Arizona a lot at the Chargers and then versus New York, the defense has stepped up magnificently.
Right.
Pre that, yeah,
So you're saying your defense is upgraded. All right, cool. Is it enough? Can they beat the Cardinals with it? I mean, the Cardinals aren't looking great at 3-5 now. However, though, the Cardinals have added D-Hops now, and he is D-Hops, right? He's hard to stop. Can the Seattle Seahawks secondary cover D-Hops?
Well, at the current rate, he got 100 the first week, 240 like what was it last week? I mean, the next week he's supposed to go for 500 yards. So
correct. So yeah. The game ain't gonna suck. Obviously, it's gonna. Before we were saying, "Oh, who wants to watch Seattle now?" Like, actually, this game could be pretty interesting just because of the players involved, right? You got DK and Lockett, and then on the other side you got D-Hops and Little Peoples. It's gonna be a good game to watch. I think it's gonna be a fun game to watch. And this is a inter division rivalry, correct?
Correct.
So there's gonna be fireworks whenever it's in an interdivision. This is gonna be a close game, and I honestly think that the Cardinals take it. Sorry, Streaky. I think Geno is going to manage the ball and avoid interceptions, but really the best thing you have to do there is cover the unders and stop the run game. I think the Cardinals can pull that off. The defense isn't that great either, but on the other side, Seahawks have to stop D-Hops, and I don't see that happening. So, and I don't see the Cardinals stopping Lockett or Metcalf either. I just think that if you look at it, Geno Smith ain't running the ball. Like, you have Little People's man, and that gives a different dynamic to your offense. I'm a big believer in a running quarterback. I always have. I have been for the last couple of years, 3-4 years. The way I run my teams and the way I look at this here, and I think that that makes a difference. He's a Little People. He has to move out of the box in order to see where he's throwing, but that makes him dangerous, right? Because now you got D-Hops back, so you have to decide what you're going to cover and how you're going to cover. And if your secondary is spread out, then Little Peoples gets his yardage. I'm going to go with the Cardinals on this one.
Yeah, it's one of those that it builds on the team, right? Like, D-Hops is that over-the-top wide receiver that's consistent. He's not like Brown, that 50-50 man. He's consistent. So, basically, when you start getting Little People running around and that clock goes from 3 seconds to 5 seconds, now those big chunk plays get open, right? And it's one of two things. Like, either you put someone on D-Hops or Ertz, or you cover the little man, and the little man's smart enough to know there's no one on me. I'm running for 20, right? So, and that makes their defense better, because if you look at the Cardinals in the first half, they didn't have that threat, and people were bottling up Murray a little bit, a little better. So I'm going with the Cardinals too. I think that they're gonna win this one. I think the Giants game you guys got up for, I think there's going to be a little bit of an emotional letdown, and I think the Little People is going to take this one, because it's a must. It's almost a must win for the Seahawks, right? Or for the Cardinals, because if they lose, they're going to go 3-6. They're going to be down. There's no chance to catch the Seahawks if they lose.
You know what's going to happen, right?
I'm going to counter with one thing, and I'm okay with you guys.
Oh, you're good. It's your team, dude. Yeah, I get you.
So, tale of two quarterbacks. One rushes 64 rushes for 363 yards. One rushes for, where's the number? 93 attempts for 51 attempts for 299 this season. Which quarterback is which? Daniel Jones and Kyler Murray.
I'd say Murray's the 59.
Murray's the 51 with 299.
Yep, Murray's
and
the 51 with 299.
Well, I'm just seeing it in front of my screen.
Yeah, no, but my point is that they shut Daniel Jones down last week. I don't think they're going to have a problem with Murray. I think where they're going to run into a problem, as you said, is Hopkins.
Well, and that's the point.
If they get Murray running and they double Hopkins, I'll take my chance with Ertz.
But Kyler's not Jones. Jones can't hit the broadside of a barn with his arm. What Murray's going to do is he's going to run outside the pocket. he's going to go from 3 seconds in that clock to 5 because he's outside the pocket, and then he's going to hit D-hops on a long route. Like,
and that Giants offense runs through Barkley, not through Daniel Jones.
Correct.
I don't know. I'm sticking to my pick.
Same here.
We are the little people, Army.
But I hope you win.
I don't. Because I want to win my pick. Sorry. Love you.
That's all. Oh, I don't take personal offense to any of this. I'm playing with house money this year.
Rams at the Buccaneers.
At the recently single Tom Brady's.
Aw, don't be like that. Giselle says hi, by the way, guys.
Calvin bet you $1,000 that you don't end up with Giselle.
So Antonio Brown says hi too? Is that what you're telling me?
It's a threesome, but they don't let me hold the video camera.
I don't even want to know what part of that you are.
Anyway, the Rams versus the Buccaneers. Man. You look at the stats for the Rams, and you're surprised at where they're at, right? What are they ranked right now, their overall offense?
If you took away Cooper Kupp, it's 90 points lower. That's all I know.
Well, yeah. Look, the Bucs haven't looked good. Brady hasn't looked good. I don't think that's going to get any better. I think Brady's on a downward spiral. He's got so much in his head, right? He's like, my wife and kids don't live with me no more. Giselle's getting bent by Antonio Brown, apparently. There's a lot in this guy's head, and he can't focus. Every time he looks downfield, he sees Antonio Brown running around with his wife up there in the stands or something. I don't know. Something's up with Brady, obviously. I think that's going to affect the team. Fournette's not running very well. Evans isn't doing too bad, though, right?
No.
But defense isn't what it should be. And on the flip side of that, the Rams defense isn't too bad either. Even considering they lost some guys, they're starting to play up. It's a coin toss on this one to me. It really is. I think, honestly, what takes it here is Cooper Kupp. You still can't stop him. Nobody can stop him. He's going to be what he's going to be. He's a great receiver. I know the Bucs have Evans, and he's a great receiver too. It's really going to be whose quarterback shows up and who plays the better game. I honestly do believe that the Bucs in a downward spiral, and I think the Rams are coming up. So I'm going to take the Rams. I think they Cooper Kupp it.
Yeah, they have been very Cooper Kupping it. It's really him and Higbee, and that's the end, right? Like they shoot someone up at running back to not give him the ball.
49ers did spank the Rams, though.
Yeah, their leading rusher last week was Ronnie Rivers with 8 attempts for 21 yards.
I mean, so two things. The Rams look dysfunctional. Like, I like Stafford. I thought he was a great pickup by them last year. And he looks like a high school quarterback, like staring down Cooper Kupp. Like, I've watched him in the route progression, and he's like, "Is Kupp open yet? Is he open yet? How about now?" There are other wide receivers on that team, and I just don't understand why the offense is completely going through. And I've seen other plays where like there's other guys open, like you're forcing, like completely forcing the ball. And on the flip side, I'm seeing Brady break surface tablets. Like to me, Brady was the kind of guy that was like, I thought he was, things when he lost, he was a jerk. Like that he didn't shake Fitzmagic's hand after, he got beat. Like he did stuff like that. But in his game, to me, he was kind of cool and calculated when he was playing. And now he seems like he's yelling at linemen. He's yelling at everybody and their brother. Like
his composure is different.
Correct. Like now he just seems like a brat, right? That he just, I wanted you to go here. I don't.
What would you be acting like if you had thoughts of Antonio Brown bending your wife over?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Is Brady now a head case? And and should he have run off in the sunset? Is this? I don't see either of these teams climbing the mountain and getting back. And the sad thing is they're you look at some of the players and they're still very talented. They still, Rams still got Ramsey. They still got Donald. I mean, they got Kupp, they've got Stafford. There's talent on this team. And you look at the Bucs, they've got talent on this team, and you're right. It looks like it's time for Brady to go. Like, how many times have we said that, and he's pulled a card out, I guess the get out of jail card, and been like, no, it's not. But he looks done. However, in this game, because the Bucs are at home, and because the Rams looked so bad last week, I'm going to overreact, and I'm going to pick the Bucs.
Well, I think that these quarterbacks, Stafford, Brady, Rodgers, all of them are starting to show their true age, bro. So this is the battle of the geriatrics. I'm still sticking with the Rams for some reason. Call it gut.
Yeah, it makes sense. All right. Our next one, the battle of the barbecues. We got the Titans and the Chiefs.
Well, we all know battle of the barbecues goes to Texas. Now, Titans and the Chiefs.
Well, not when they're not playing.
Yeah, well. Either way, Texas barbecue reigns supreme. So, you want to say right off the bat Chiefs, right? Like that's the go-to here, just based on quarterback and everything else. But then you got this little guy over there, or big guy over there with the Titans called King Henry. And he ran for, 1,000 yards last week?
He's still running.
Still running, yeah.
Will someone please get Derrick Henry back in the stadium?
I mean, he made what did he run? 2-something?
32 carries, 219 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
Jesus. That's the D. Henry you've been waiting for, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, everybody that drafted him, that's the games you're waiting for. I think that's what's coming, probably.
Well, you just start him and go, thank you for winning my championship.
Right? I mean, dude, they're 5-2. Kansas City's 5-2. I think if D. Henry starts running the ball, the thing with D. Henry running the ball is he controls the clock, right? He's not getting gashes. He is sort of, right? But he's still pounding the rock. What did he carry? How many times did he carry it?
He's the old school.
32.
He's the old school guy, right? Like, you hit him in the first quarter. Like, the Jerome Buss used to say that, right? Guys hit, I run in the first quarter, guys hit me. I run in the second quarter, guys are hitting me. I run in the third quarter, guys are starting to pull up. In the fourth quarter, they don't want nothing to do with me.
In the fourth quarter, you're hitting them.
Yeah. That's old school running backs.
Yeah. Well, I mean, either way, though, 32 times. That's a load for a running back in one game. 32 carries in one game is a lot.
Well, I mean, when you're running Malik Willis out as your quarterback, you kind of don't have a choice in them.
Agreed, and I get that part, sure. And they were playing the Texans, so let's temper that, right? I mean, and this is Kansas City. Kansas City's defense is definitely better than the Texans. Will Henry run that up? No. I think he still gets his yardage, man. He's a tough, big running back. He's gonna get his yardage. I think he's starting to get in that groove where he's gonna get his yardage. Thing is, you're right. It's not enough to. They went and pulled the quarterback out of the stands. It's not peanut butter jelly time. But what was his name?
Malik Willis out of what was that? It's the religious university.
Whoever Willie Snickerdoodle,
Liberty.
Willie Snickerdoodle quarterbacking for the Titans ain't gonna cut the mustard. They'll have Henry. Henry will get his yards, a touchdown, maybe 2, but the Chiefs will definitely put up a lot of points. You can't stop. The Titans aren't gonna stop Mahomes. I know their defense is a little bit better, but it's Mahomes, bro. Whose defense does stop it? Are you gonna sit Mahomes if they're playing the number 1 defense? No. You're still going to start him because you ain't stopping him. The kid has 2,100 yards, 20 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Doesn't matter who he faces. He's going to do his thing. I think Kels obviously don't stop. Jimmy James Schuster is now stepping it up and becoming the receiver he should have been there. The weapons are there, man. It's just too many. I know the Titans defense is a little bit better, and the running game's there, but there's just too much on the Chiefs side to stop the Chiefs, right? The Titans just won't do it. And obviously this one, the no-brainer, in my opinion, is to take the Chiefs. And I will take the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Also keep an eye on Pacheco.
I'm taking the Chiefs too. And the reason, because it doesn't bode well for the Titans. The Titans, this is the anti-Titan team, right? The Titans are designed to run the ball, play defense, and lead the game and beat you in a 17-13 snoozer with Henry starting to run downhill in the fourth quarter, right? The Chiefs have a quarterback that takes what what the defense gives them. He will cut you deep. He will cut you in the middle. Like he will take whatever every defense says, well, this is what we're taking away from you. And he's smart enough that he goes, that's what they're taking away, and I'm going to take these little dump off passes, or, and it's partially Reed, it's partially him. It was really funny last year. Kansas City, the whole city had a panic because there was like a 3 or 4 game stretch where the Chiefs were doing badly. And it was literally, he was trying to force the ball downfield, and teams were taking that away. They were, putting 2 guys over Hill. They were putting 2 guys on Kelsey and beat us with the other guys. And he was playing into that. Now he's doing the check downs, and he'll check the ball down and get the ball down the field. So he's learned. He's phenomenally talented. He can run the ball. He can throw the ball. Kelsey is on another level. I see them again. What I see is the just when the Chiefs do that burst score where it's you'll literally watch the scoreboard and be, oh, it's Titans up 10-0, and then boom boom boom, it's 21-10. That's just how they do it. And that's the kind of once they do what's the Titans' answer? Guy from the 5th row, please throw 350 for us. It's just not going to happen. And once Henry gets out of the game, that's their strength. So I'm going with the Chiefs. But the Titans, again, they're 5-2. You got to hand it to them. They started off slow. They've started off slow a couple years in a row, but they've turned it around. So good for them.
There you go.
Anything to add, Striker?
No, you pretty much covered it all for this.
Call Calvin Ridley.
That Chiefs.
Chiefs.
And the last game of the week, the Ravens at the Saints. Mirror images. The Ravens are 5-3, Saints 3-5.
Well, let's start with who's quarterback in the Saints. Do we know? Is it Redhead or the blind guy? No comment. I'm gonna go with Redhead probably.
That is a good question.
I don't know that they're
trying to find.
They're not gonna announce it this early, and I know blind guy is close to ready.
Well, let's get out, cut the BS, right? Lamar Jackson, period. I don't see the Saints have a great offense too, but can their defense stop Lamar Jackson? And then you look at the other side and say, well, what does the defense and the Ravens side stop? But it's really going to come, honestly, to me, it's going to be the score point thing, right? Like who scores more? I just don't see the Saints scoring more. I know Alvin Kamara's on fire, and that's great. It's just who's quarterbacking, right? How do they do? That's really the big deal. Did they play last week?
Hold on.
Which team?
The Saints.
Yeah, we really need Calvin Ridley on the stats.
They did play last week. They shut
out
Vegas.
They killed it, right? Yeah, but again, the Raiders have zero defense, and that's why I picked against them. They scored 24-0. The only quarter they didn't score in was the 4th, and that's where they decided to make sandwiches and watch the game for a little bit.
Kamara was both the rushing leader and receiving leader.
Hey, I appreciated that very much so. Considering I have him in both my money leagues, I appreciated that a lot.
He had basically half of Dalton's passing yards.
Yeah, Dalton didn't do too bad. It looks like he managed the game fairly well. No picks, right? Man, this game's gonna be a lot better than I think now. I mean, we know Baltimore. We know they have Lamar. We know Lamar is Lamar, and Lamar is gonna run for touchdowns, throw for touchdowns. But his TD to interception ratio isn't great. Man, their running game is definitely dead. They have Drake, and that's about it right now. Everybody else is hurt. Wow, I might rethink this one. Maybe it isn't just Lamar. Honestly, looking at this and looking at what's going on in New Orleans with Kamara being on fire finally, and he is on fire and will continue to be on fire. I think if New Orleans just learned how to trust in Taysom Hill, I think he's such a dynamic player, and I don't understand why they use him minimally. You get what I mean?
Oh, we talked about this a couple weeks ago, right? I said that. I was like, if there's some crazy stat that when he touches the ball, they score like 80% of the time, and when he doesn't, they score like 10. Well,
the funny part is that he ran 10 for 61 with no touchdowns last week.
That's because I said something about him, right?
Well, no, but that's because Alvin Kamara, right?
Yeah.
Alvin Kamara had 3 touchdowns last week. Jesus. He had 10 targets and caught 9 of them. Think about that. But that's Taysom Hill had 2 targets with 1 reception. I don't know. He's such a dynamic player. I think that with a mix of Kamara, wow, right? I think that playing the Baltimore Ravens, whose defense really isn't that great, I'm going to actually take the Saints in this one. I was thinking Baltimore at first, but looking at their defense and looking how hot New Orleans looks right now, and yes, I said hot, Striker.
Hot.
I'm going with the Saints, man. I just think they're going to be a little too much. I know Lamar's going to score his points, but what does Lamar have besides Lamar? That's the big question, right? You have Lamar, you're throwing. Hey, you got the tight end. Don't get me wrong. Duvernay, whatever his name is, the receiver, isn't too bad either. But it's not enough.
Well, Andrews was hobbled last week.
Even worse than the Saints for me.
Yeah, I think the question isn't what else do you have other than Jackson. Is Jackson enough by himself? And I think the answer is yes. So, I mean, he wins. The numbers with him on the Ravens starting and against them not, with him not starting are crazy. He's that special. Like he's the guy. Again, when they talk about the running quarterback who can throw, it's him, right? They want it's him, Mahomes, Allen. Like there's a handful of quarterbacks that everyone goes, that's what we want. And then they drafted Justin Fields. He's that guy. And the sad thing is he's quite frankly dragging, and I guess this is the same problem Brady had for a while, right? He's dragging inferior teams to the postseason and that accumulates after a while. And this Ravens team isn't as good as some of the Ravens teams in the past, but I still think it's better than the Saints. And my belief is that no matter if it's the rifle or brought to you by LASIK, they're going to make some boneheaded decisions and turn the ball over. And that's really, if the Saints could get out of their own way, that would be the ideal situation for them, right? If they could get out of their own way, run the ball with Kamara, and not turn the ball over, they could win this game. But I think they're going to do that, and I think that Lamar's going to make him pay. So I picked the Ravens.
The Ravens, huh? Wow, we finally picked separate against each other.
So we did it on the Bucs and Rams.
So question for both you guys: if Michael Thomas is playing this weekend, does that change anything?
Nah.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, no, not for me, obviously, because I'm picking the Saints. But I think that adds to it. I mean, receiving wise, obviously, Kamara's going to catch balls, but Kamara's catching dumps, right? The underneath, the check downs, but he's very effective with the yards after catch. You have that rookie Olave, who I'm still big on and is really doing well as far as receptions. I think with Michael Thomas back, I think it helps the team, doesn't hurt the team. So I would stick with the Saints on that. Striker?
I was just curious. It was more of a wordy question because I think Thomas changes the Saints offense tremendously.
Oh, I agree. It adds another dynamic receiver, but he needs to be healthy.
And that's the other part. Is it 100% Michael Thomas? No. Is 75 going to sway me? Not really. And it goes down to, it's probably actually worse, right? Because 75% Michael Thomas doesn't have the same separation 100% does, and then that makes even, Winston or Dalton's throws even worse. Again, these guys are turnover magnets, right?
It's just hard to understand the Hill situation. I don't get it. Such a dynamic offensive weapon, and you don't use him very well.
But that's a lot of teams, right? A lot of teams have, and they talk about that in games where you're like they've scripted these plays to get the ball in this person's hand, and so I don't. My favorite way of playing football is to not worry about the superstars. You throw to the guy that is open. But with that being said, everything in football is around progressions, right? And so as you go through your progressions, obviously you're looking, like if you've got Tyreek Hill, you're looking his way first, right? And then there's a downward progression through your skill players. So when you say that, even when you say throw to the open guy, you're kind of looking down, and what you'll notice in the league is, if you were to watch, the films, you would see that on a throw downfield that's contested, there was an underneath throw he could have come down, right? And really, the difference between good and great quarterbacks is the great quarterbacks find a way to shove that ball in there, but they don't become the Brett Favre where I'm gunning it in a window I probably shouldn't have, right? That's a fine line between throwing a ball downfield in a small window and not getting the check down, right? And it comes down to, how does your offense run and how does it flow? Because if it's, again, first down and 10, and you hit a 7-yard pass instead of giving up the long shot, that's not as bad as third down and not doing it, right? Like, you don't want to be short of the sticks. However, the defense is going to react by the throws that you're making, and they're going to start rolling their coverage down if you can't throw over the top. So it's kind of, again, it's an interesting chess game to me. Thoughts?
Honestly, this game, and as far as what the Saints are doing, I don't think they need Taysom Hill to win. Is that what we're talking about here?
Yeah, it was. Well, it was again. Well, I think in this case, you think him touching the ball is not going to hurt the Saints' chances, right? I think what's going to hurt the Saints' chances are they're going to turn the ball over 5 times.
Well, if that happens in any game, your chances of winning are slim to none, right?
Correct.
And the way you stop Lamar is keep Lamar off the field, right? In my coaching, right, I've played plenty of teams that have home run hitters, big home run hitters, and the way we've beat them is keep the ball out of their hands. And the way you keep the ball out of their hands is, all right, yeah, I can hit home runs too, but I know that I can power game and get 3 yards in a cloud of dust and just continue to control the clock to where their home run hitters aren't on the field very long, or they get their shot and then I drag the ball out again, right? So that's how you beat them. And I think that if you look at the Saints, let's look at last week's game. Last week's game, man, they threw the ball. He threw the ball, what, 22 times? But look at who they threw it. 9 to Kamara, and he got 96 yards. He's averaging 10 yards there, right? Every reception, every single one you look at, especially the top 3, they're all averaging a 10-yard reception, carry, whatnot, right? 9 receptions, 5 receptions, 3 receptions for 38. They slowed the clock down. The Raiders look like they never even had a freaking chance to play the game. And I think you do the same to Lamar and you win. Did Carr get hurt last week? Because they started Jarrett Stidham. I mean, they played Jarrett Stidham for a while.
I think they're just getting tired of Carr.
So. Maybe, but look at their stats. I mean, the Saints controlled the clock. Look at 15 for 26 for 101 yards, 8 for 13 for 72 yards with Stidham. Josh Jacobs only had 10 carries. The receivers were all dismal as well. Something went down there that I believe the Saints. To me, the way I see it, it looks like the Saints control the damn clock for the most time. And if they can do that against Lamar, and Lamar's not on the field scoring points, then Lamar's not winning. So I'm sticking with the Saints.
The Ravens. All right. Well, yet another week in the books. Thanks for coming out, guys.
That was a good one.
So, two plugs real quick, Wardy. The best football game will be Sunday at 12:30, or Saturday at 12:30. Sorry, Tennessee #1 versus Georgia #3. If you aren't watching it, what the hell are you doing?
Are you talking about college ball?
Yeah, college ball. Tennessee #1, Georgia #3. It's gonna be a hell of a fight. And then time change this weekend too, for those of you who don't live in Arizona.
Is it this weekend?
It's this.
We're falling back. I thought they were getting rid of time zones. Oh well.
They're voting on that soon.
I wish they would, man. Down here, I gotta find fields with lights and stuff to practice on when that happens. So,
that's funny.
Just put a couple of bonfires up and call it good.
Yeah, that's what we do in Texas. We just burn shit and have a football practice. Hey, how about the top game in the NFL this week? What do you all think? Which one is going to be the #1 game? The game to watch. Let's call it the game to watch of the week, right? What is the game of the week?
I would in my head it's the Chiefs Titans, but I don't feel that's going to be the game of the week. I'd say Rams Bucs.
I think picking Chiefs Titans as well, but man, and I didn't pick them, and I'm not. But man, you made. I've been sitting here looking at this and thinking for a while. Man, watch the Jets Buffalo. I don't know why, and I hope it doesn't happen.
That's the one I was leaning toward.
Uncle Rico, I think, is gonna win some money. I'm still going with Buffalo because I ain't stupid, but man, we gotta look at what the payout is there for $1,000 bet. Seriously, because Uncle Rico.
I would not be surprised at all to see the Jets fucking wallop the Bills. Like one of those. That's kind of what they have to do, right? They have to be up like 21 points, and the Bills are just like, what the fuck happened? Like,
well, the money line is the Bills are minus 900. The Jets are plus 550. So, wow, that's big. That's big money, boys and girls. $1,000 bet. He's gonna win some big money. Wow. Anyways.